What's up, guys? Today we're going to review one of Crazy Dave Ramsey's videos on what no one else will tell you about Airbnbs. Now, if you don't know, I actually own 6 Airbnbs right now. I don't arbitrage them, meaning I don't rent from someone else and put my furniture in them. I actually own the properties, I own the business, and I manage my own businesses. So let's see what Crazy Joe got to say today. He said he's a pastor where he is now. He already owns a property, okay? They've paid down all of their credit card debt, their personal loans. Now they're just down to $5,000 in student loans, okay? And the house that they're buying in the new city that they're moving to is actually all expenses are paid. So that house is gonna be paid for. So this man is definitely financially savvy. Now, the part that's really starting to irk me already is that instead of smiling about this guy's happiness, right, Crazy Dave is glaring at this dude over the phone because he's paid off all of this debt and because he's gonna have a free house when he moves. He should be smiling at this point. Is it just me?
That we are financially independent from the church. I love the church. I would love to one day not even have to take a paycheck from the church. And so what I'm seeing is our expenses are staying the same. Our income's actually going up a little bit with this move. And I would like to turn my house in Texas into an Airbnb property and hopefully even make income to take one step closer to being financially independent from the church. And so my question really is that a smart move, or should I just sell my home here in Texas, profit, I don't know, the way the market is right now, I can maybe profit 60, 70K, something along those lines from what I've seen. And so I'm just asking you what maybe the better or best option is.
I love your goal, and I don't dislike your plan overall. I would sell the house and move the money to Oklahoma, pile up some more cash and pay cash for your first rental in your own backyard. Airbnbs have 2 problems that all the people that...
All right, I want to stop right there. Okay, so my man said, he'd rather, instead of him leaving the furniture that they already have in this house, all right? So they live there. They've been living there for years at this point. So they have furniture in this house and they live in Texas. They're moving to Oklahoma, okay? Which is a long drive. So instead of them paying for a mover and boxing up all of their stuff and driving, I don't know, 7 hours, he thinks it's going to be smarter for him to just leave his furniture there and just Airbnb the property as it sits right now. I mean, I think that's pretty smart. Okay. I mean, I really do. And I'm saying this based off of properties that we own right now. Okay. We have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house on Pear Tree where our mortgage is $650. And last month, this property brought in $4,144 here in a small city like Greensboro, and he's in a bigger city in Texas. I think he's gonna have some success with that, because even if he does profit 60 grand, I mean, seriously, 60 grand doesn't go so far when you get 60 grand all at one time. Okay, and then he's telling them to don't even, he's telling you to go spend this 60 grand again and just buy something in cash. Okay. Why would you do that? And why would you do that when you can just make $5,000 or $6,000, net profit, every single month, and you don't have to, have any upfront cost in order to do that? That doesn't make sense to me right off gate. But let's hear what he says.
Talk about how much money they make with them. Don't bring up. They have 3 problems that people don't bring up. Problem number 1, there's a ton of hassle, a lot of details, a lot of work involved in getting the people in, getting them out, getting them cleaned, all that kind of stuff. like probably 25x a normal rental, because you'll have multiple renters in a single month, right? And so you've got maid service, you've got
now this part that he talks about hassle. I mean, I guess, you know, I'm not going to say that he's right. I'm not going to say that he's wrong, but I will say there is more work than a long-term rental. You know, a long-term rental, you literally get somebody in there, they're there for a year. You know, all they do is pay their rent and you make sure there's a handyman on call if something goes wrong. Hey, I totally get it. That's definitely more of a set it and forget it. You know, but keep in mind, to do nothing, right, to provide less value on my rentals, I typically net $350. So when he says it is a lot of hassle, yes, you definitely got to have a good cleaner, and it's hard to find good, consistent cleaners. You definitely got to make sure you're, you know, vetting the people who want to stay in your properties. You definitely got to make sure that you have a nice enough property to attract a good amount of business, you know, so you can maximize your net profits. So hassle, I'm going to say he might be right about that, you know, but here on this channel, we actually talk about ways that you can decrease the hassle, right? You know, by having a PMS, a property management software for your Airbnb. So that way you can automate communication, right? Like automate check-in instructions, you know, automate your checkout instructions, automate, you know, a request to review. You know, automate even giving other people, you know, a review, even automate the guest review portion using a PMS system like IGMS, you know, or, you know, hiring a virtual assistant like we have to troubleshoot, you know, or to you know, kind of play as like a representative between us and the actual guest. So that way we do less work in our business. So between a cleaner, a PMS, and a virtual assistant, I mean, honestly, with my 6 properties, I might spend 4 hours a week on my Airbnb properties, you know, currently owning 6.
At a higher level of maintenance, you've got a lot of work involved in managing and messing with them. Okay, so a lot of hassle.
Could I speak?
Go ahead.
So sorry to interrupt. Can I just speak to that? I do have family here in Texas that would be managing the property. And so I kind of have a little bit of a built-in system where
which is a bad idea. You're taking advantage of your family. Okay, I'm telling you, Airbnb, the hassle factor is very high. There's great money, but the hassle factor is very high. So if you want to do an Airbnb, it needs to be in your back.
Oh goodness, this dude, he be tripping sometimes. He be tripping. Yeah, even the pastor on the phone right now started laughing and kind of choking up a little bit. So having your family members help you in business is not taking advantage of them. Now, if they, you know, if you offer to pay them and they say, hey, no, I'll do it for free, you know, and you expect them to consistently do that for free, that's definitely not fair. You know, your family members that help you out in your business, just like my mom, she does accounting, transaction coordination for me, and just overall admin work. You know, I pay her when we do transactions, and I pay her on our monthly rent. You know, so I'm assuming that this pastor, who sounds pretty fair, he's financially savvy, you know, I'm pretty sure he would just pay his family members, especially a man that has a goal of, you know, setting up this income so that way the church doesn't necessarily have to pay him if for whatever reason he decides to preach at a church that can't pay him. So I'm not sure why David kind of jumped on him like that.
Backyard. Problem number one with Airbnbs. Problem number two with Airbnbs is you have a lot of extra maintenance. People tear the crap out of your property. Nobody talks about that. That's the dirty little secret of Airbnbs. You're constantly buying carpet. You're constantly buying paint and drywall repair because they do.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and it's not a lot of hassle. Matter of fact, a couple weeks ago, we showed you videos of one of my newest short-term rentals that I have in my apartment complex. It's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. And we got it looking really nice over there. Someone stayed for a week straight, okay? Literally left it so clean that the cleaner said that all the dishes were done and loaded up in the dishwasher already. All she had to do was put them back up. They had swept and mopped the floor because we leave a mop and a broom there at the house, and they had put all of their dirty laundry in the washing machine. So all we had to do was start the washing machine. So not this, that's not how this works. I typically like short-term rentals because they stay in better shape long-term, versus my long-term rentals. I mean, think about it. If you're renting a property to someone on Section 8, they don't work. They live there for free. They don't do anything. So they live in your house all day long. 24 hours out of the day, they're there at the house, 20 hours out of the day. Okay. And so that means your house is getting beat up on, it's getting rubbed, touched, walked on, doors closing, kids playing, way more hours than your short-term rental. So mine typically stay in better shape than my long-term rentals. So that's funny that he brings this up as a pain point when I see it vice versa. My guests keep it way nicer than my tenants.
Do not take it. I don't care how big a deposit you get or how much screening you do. It's not their house. And so you're going to have a high level of repairs and maintenance, which is part of that hassle factor. The third thing that nobody's talking about is several areas are now passing zoning prohibiting it.
Right.
And so if you set your whole model up only on Airbnb, you could have the rug jerked out from under you. If the only way the deal works is Airbnb, don't do the deal because it might not be available to you. Now, if you want to run the hassle for the extra money and run the maintenance for the extra money, you'll make more money, but it's a lot of work. So I would move the money to Oklahoma, whether you're going to do a straight rental.
All right, so two things right here. Now, we'll say he's right. There's definitely a lot of cities, like Atlanta, like Chicago, even like here in Greensboro, where the city is definitely getting involved and, and forming policies around, Airbnb. Now, this isn't a bad thing, okay? This isn't a bad thing, okay? You want regulation. Regulation, what it does is, number one, it keeps the market competitive. Some people, they're not even going to look and see what the law is. They're just going to get out or think that they can't get in because there's a law, okay? So that's going to keep competition strong for those who are willing to comply, okay? Secondly, it's going to make those who are, in the business full-time stronger. The people who are doing it as a hobby, they're not going to actually go to the city council meetings to see how, the new laws are going to benefit them. So let me give you one example. Okay. Let me give you one example. So short-term rentals are defined differently in different cities. Ours determines short-term as being 29 days or less. Okay, so most of my listings get 30-day listings. Okay, they get 30-day, guests that are there for 30 days or more. Right. So instead of me saying, hey, I have a short-term rental. Yes, I do. But I really just have a month-to-month, tenant that's just paying for all the furniture there. So if my city comes up and says they don't allow Airbnbs, well, mine, this is not a short-term rental. See, the agreement that we make, even though it is on Airbnb, I just use that for marketing. You see, they're here for 30 days. And literally, that's just what happened to me on one of my units here in my city. Or, your city, either way, your city is just going to make policies. You just have to abide by them. Your city is not saying we don't want short-term housing because they have hotels. They're not saying they don't want short-term housing because there's definitely other people going to be doing it in the city. Most of the time, the city just wants to benefit with you while you do business. So one thing we have to do now is we have to pay a $500 permit to do a whole house rental short-term. $500. All right, that's just the cost of doing business, So essentially, they want us to pay, they want us to pay the city $500 to do business here. That's what comes along with business. Okay, so just because policy is going down doesn't mean you should run. You should just work through the policy. He just said it himself. If you're willing to go through the hassle, if you're willing to work through the maintenance, I don't agree with that about the maintenance, you will make more money. That's exactly what he just said. So now I want to say this to you, okay? Now that you know that short-term rentals will make you more money than long-term rentals, but it's going to cause you to do more work? Are you going to let somebody, maybe it's Dave Ramsey, maybe it's a family member, stop you from getting to the goals that you want, really? Or are you going to work through those things and, like my man says, you know, do the things that no one's willing to do so you can have the things that no one has, right? Through short-term rental investing. For more videos just like this one, follow me right here on YouTube. Okay, this is me taking action. Peace, y'all.